Hello, everyone. I'm Kate Baldwin. So the case is now in the hands of the jury to decide the fate of 3 men charged with the killing of Ahmad Arbery. Jurors, they have now begun deliberating following a nearly month-long trial. We're still seeing live pictures in the courtroom there. Joining me now to discuss all that we have heard, especially this morning, Bernardo Villalona, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, and Sara Azari, a criminal defense attorney. Thank you both so much for being here. So, Sara, the jury now has it. There are 3 defendants, each charged with 9 counts. So 27 different verdicts are needed. And then we hear in the courtroom, as they're giving jury instructions, there are lesser charges that can also be considered now for William Bryan, the neighbor here that is charged. What does this mean for the jury as they take on this case now?
Yeah, Kate, so the jury has to really first decide this idea of a citizen's arrest, which goes to all of these. It was that initial encounter justified, because without that, you don't get to the analysis of self-defense. And if there was justified self-defense, then the inquiry ends right there, because there is no duty to retreat under Georgia laws. So that is why this prosecutor spent so much time, really the bulk of her closing, on citizen's arrest, that the idea was bogus, that it came about to shape the defense, that there was never a citizen's arrest. There was no imminent knowledge of a crime. They didn't witness a crime. That was the headline, and that is because it is so important. You don't really get to self-defense without the analysis of citizen's arrest. And I think for me, the biggest moment was the 911 call. What's your emergency? There's a black man running down the street. I mean, that is why we're here. And unfortunately, this jury is not proportionate to the community, which is, almost a third black. And so I'm trying to read the tea leaves, but I'm really not sure where this is going to go.
Yeah, Bernardo, 11 white people on the jury, 1 black person on this jury. And as we just heard, just put it into some more context for folks, if you will, because jury instructions, they're critical, they're complicated, as we've seen here and in other trials. And as Sara's getting at, the defense team has gone to lengths to object over the definition of citizen's arrest as presented in closings by the state. What is that about?
So absolutely, because the defense knows that their only hanging fate is in citizen's arrest. And that definition of citizen's arrest is going to be the linchpin in terms of whether they are found guilty or not guilty. So that's why the defense was very strategic and objected at the exact times that the prosecution was defining citizen's arrest. Because the reality is that if you did not see Ahmad Arbery commit a crime and the crime wasn't committed contemporaneously to when you attempted to commit the arrest, then you are not able to avail yourself of citizen's arrest. So obviously that's why the defense has to object, because their definition is the one that they want to control the jury.
And Sara, you think that the state in the closing arguments delivered what they needed to do to make this final argument. But what do you think of the rebuttal from the state, from the prosecution that we've watched all through this morning?
I think it was very effective, Kate. I think that it was directly responsive to the defense closing arguments. The idea that there was a boogeyman in the neighborhood. There was, that Ahmad Arbery was dangerous, that he had committed a crime. I mean, she really methodically showed that these men had no knowledge of him having committed a crime. There was no citizen's arrest. And then she went further to reel back in Roddy Bryan, right? Because I think Roddy Bryan's attorney did a fantastic job of distancing him from these other 2 men, showing that he didn't even know there was a gun there until the first shot was fired. And so just sort of arguing that his client was stupid and came out and just got involved and then, took a video and did the right thing and turned it over to the police. And without his video, there would be no justice and no trial. So she did a very good job, because she then went through the elements of all the charges as against Roddy Bryan and brought him right back into those charges. Ultimately, I think Roddy's probably going to get acquitted or get, be found guilty of some of the lessers. But she did a fantastic job, and she really sort of played a little bit more on the race card as well. That long, dirty toenail comment, and that was just despicable about Ahmad Arbery. She humanized him. She said, look at him when he was alive, and then look at him, showing the autopsy picture. And that was very effective on her part in rebuttal.
I do, and Bernard, I wanted to get your take on that, because that is a choice by the prosecution, right? Because all throughout closings, really until these very final moments in rebuttal, the prosecution did not spend much time kind of leaning into humanizing Ahmad Arbery. Her focus really remained on the facts and evidence that had been laid out in the case. And as Sarah's getting at, though, the defense during closings went right at Ahmad Arbery. I'll let me play the moment that Sarah was talking about right there.
Turning Ahmad Arbery into a victim after the choices that he made does not reflect the reality of what brought Ahmad Arbery to Satilla Shores in his khaki shorts with no socks to cover his long, dirty toenails.
Bernard, what did you think that was about? And what do you think of the prosecution's response, really, today?
So Ms. Hogue's comments, I found it to be despicable. I found it to be infuriating for her to do victim blaming, and not just victim blaming, but victim shaming. Not just victim shaming, but also destroying the character of Ahmad Arbery. This had nothing to do with what happened on February 23rd of 2020. So she definitely sunk low in trying to appeal to probably the racial undertones that she believes this jury may have. In terms of how the prosecution handled it, the prosecution didn't really delve deep in. However, the prosecutor did call her out and said that the defense wanted to result in victim blaming. But victim blaming does not get you to an acquittal. Let's go back to why are you here? What is it that these defendants saw on February 23rd, 2020 that caused them to chase, hunt, detain, and ultimately kill Ahmad Arbery? And once you get to those facts and apply them to the law, then you will find that these defendants are guilty. So let's forget the victim blaming and the victim naming and the name calling.
So this is now in the hands of this jury. But Sarah, even beyond this, all three men are also charged federally with hate crimes and attempted kidnapping. What does this mean? What does that mean, no matter what happens here?
You know, there is no double jeopardy when you're dealing with two different sovereigns, right? So they could be convicted here and still continue to be indicted and prosecuted under federal law. And so that, to me, was potentially why this prosecutor wasn't really getting to the race issue as much, although she sort of skirted around it today. But yeah, they are facing federal hate crime charges under an indictment, which is very serious. Now, you know, to Bernard's point, Kate, the idea of the comment about the toenails and all that, beyond it being reprehensible, what concerns me is that when an attorney addresses a jury by, you know, villainizing the dead victim and making such a risky comment, they have to know that it'll resonate with this jury, right? And so if this jury is the kind of jury that's going to believe that based on Ahmaud Arbery's appearance, that he didn't belong in that neighborhood, that he was up to no good, and they're going to completely ignore the facts, which is on the prosecution's side, then this, you know, I think some strange things can happen with respect to this verdict.
Well, now it is in the hands of the jury, and now deliberations are underway, and we will wait and see. Thank you both very much. I really appreciate it.